This is the Naked Mormon History Travel Log for April 2nd, 2017. Today was a little less busy of a day. I didn't have quite so much going on as I have for the past few days, and it was nice to just relax and get some emails sent and plan out the next few days of my trip. And watch a little bit of conference with the people here that I'm with whom I'm staying in Kirtland. But it wasn't a completely empty day, though. I still spent a fair amount of time driving around and seeing some things. I drove around the historic Kirtland area and through Mentor, and I had to stop in Mentor because the Sidney Rigdon church that was built for him in 1828 still stands today. And it was apparently changed in 1856 and then again in 1956. And then again, more recently after that, I took quite a few pictures of it. I tried to get in, but it's an actively used church, and being a Sunday afternoon, apparently nobody was in there, so I didn't think it was a good idea to break into a church on a Sunday for many, many reasons. So I unfortunately didn't get to see the inside of the Sidney Rigdon church, but that was the original Rigdonite, Kimballite, whatever you want to call it, sect and church that they constructed in 1828. There are pictures up on the Facebook page if you want to see that. Also, I did the first ever Facebook Live event, and that was surprisingly easy and fun. I just posted up on Facebook and just said, hey, in 10 minutes, I'm going to try Facebook Live for the first time ever. Watch if you want to. And it was surprising to see a bunch of people joined in and were talking back and forth, chatting and putting up things for me to read on there as I was walking through downtown historic Kirtland here and just showing everybody the sights. It was really fun. I mean, surprisingly fun, and it's just a downright shame that I haven't done any of these before now. So coming up here at my stops in Palmyra and Fayette, as well as possibly Harmony. I'm still trying to work out if I'm able to stop in Harmony, Pennsylvania or not, as well as my stop in Winter Quarters. I'm planning on doing Facebook Live events for those. I had no idea that it was so simple and it was going to be so much fun, but it was so much fun because people were joining in and people were, posting up and doing thumbs up and all kinds of fun stuff. I'd never tried it before. I had only ever watched one or two of these Facebook Live events before, but wow, it was awesome. So thank you to those of you who did join in and participate. It was really a pleasure. But after that, I headed up to the Community of Christ because I had an interview discussion set up with Sean Bryant, who is the Community of Christ Temple Director here, and also, from what I understand, a published historian, and incredibly knowledgeable on his Mormon history, including Church of Christ and Brighamite Church and, a number of other breakoff sects. He grew up in the church, from my understanding, and left about 8 years ago and then converted to the Community of Christ. I don't exactly know how that happened. We didn't get into the discussion, but we did talk a lot of deep Mormon history. It was really fun. But also somebody who I wasn't expecting was Tom Kimball. And he has been on the Mormon Stories podcast in like episode 400 something. And he's, he grew up in the Brighamite church as well and left, I think he said about 10 years ago. And I mean, he was there. He knows a lot of Mormon history as well. And we just sat down and had a deep conversation about how the Church of Christ and the RLDS Church came to be, because that's history that I'm not familiar with. I haven't studied it myself because I haven't researched the Nauvoo years and post-Nauvoo years, and that's where the RLDS Church came about. So that interview will actually be aired on the podcast when we come off of hiatus in early May the 4th, and we will that podcast will air sometime after then. I'm not sure when, And the reason I'm saying that is because they're trying to get their own podcast launched, and I said we'll wait till you get yours launched, and then I'll air your conversation on my show, and we'll do some cross promotion that way. So I'm really stoked to hear their podcast if they get it up and running, but I was even more stoked to just have the deep Mormon history conversation with these guys because they know their stuff, and they enlightened me to all kinds of things that I've never even heard of before. I sat there for most of the time just listening intently, sponging up this information, and that's my favorite thing about talking to people that live out here. So many people know their Mormon history, and I'm able to get in these deep discussions, whereas nowhere else have I really been able to do that. Even in Nauvoo, I wasn't able to really ask deep questions and get into those deep conversations just because I'm not familiar with the history there, and I don't know what questions to ask. I don't know which way to lead the conversations to get into the deep discussions. But that's not the case with Kirtland. I've been studying it for the past 2 years almost. Year and a half essentially, because it's been the most important time frame in Mormon history leading up to the Liberty Jail and the Missouri Mormon War and the Missouri years and whatnot. I mean, Kirtland is just incredible, and I love the history here. So it was, liberating to have that conversation with Tom Kimball and Sean Bryant. And yeah, I mean, they're great guys, really fun and just enjoyable people to talk to, just very, very friendly, happy, and it was needless to say, I'm excited to air that episode. It's going to be really, really fun, and I'm looking forward to what you guys think about their conversation dynamic and their podcast once it airs. But of course, that's all maybe a month and a half, 2 months in the future. We'll see how things develop as things go about here. But essentially, that was my day. After my conversation with them, I hung around the Community of Christ Visitor Center for a little while and spoke to James Brown. That's right. It's not James Brown. Rick James with the Community of Christ there. I purchased a couple of books from their bookstore there because I want to support the Community of Christ because of their historic sites. They're in need of the financial support, and I figure if I'm going to get these books, then why just find what books I want and go pay for them on Amazon? I mean, why not pay the Community of Christ for, why not give my financial support to them and further the upkeep and the preservation of their temple and their historic sites? So, I'm putting my money, my little bit of money where my mouth is and where my interests lie, and that's where it was good to purchase those books from them. That being said, that was essentially my day. It was a bit of a shorter day. Like I said, it wasn't quite as busy as the past few days have been because there's so much to see out here. Essentially, it was just hanging out with the two gentlemen and going and seeing Sidney Rigdon's original church that was built in Mentor in 1828. Of course, there are, as I said, pictures up on the Facebook page, the Naked Mormonism Facebook page for that. Really great. Today was just a good day. I just feel really positive about today. And then afterwards, I came back to the missionary home where I'm staying here and watched General Conference for a little while. And then, and I've just been working ever since, essentially. It's just felt like a really positive and productive day, even though I haven't been around to all of these various, places as I have been in the past 2 days. But, this marks the end of my time in Kirtland. For tomorrow, I begin my journey towards New York and Boston. Boston primarily because I have a meeting set up with a professor at Boston University that I'm excited about. And additionally, New York, where this all began. I'm stoked for it. It's going to be great. So, yeah. I guess I don't have much to say. It's just been a really good day. I'm almost euphoric about the way that today turned out. And that's, I guess, all I really have to say about it. Thanks for listening into this installment of the Naked Mormon History Tour travelogue. Oh, and one more thing to add. I'm posting this up tonight. Also, tomorrow morning, Monday, the first Monday of every month, As is usual, we are doing our Name of Home evening, and if you are a supporter on Patreon.com, I'd love to talk with you. Check your email inbox through the email that you are signed up on with Patreon, and you'll get an email with a link to the Google Hangouts. Yeah, I want to share this experience with people, and talk about what has been going on here, because I've just been talking into microphone about my experiences here, and having that Facebook Live event kind of instilled that feeling of back and forth a little bit that I've been kind of craving. So this Namo Home evening on April 3rd. That's Monday. That's tomorrow. Yes, April 3rd. That's going to be cathartic for my exploding little brain right now. So I hope to see some of you there. I'm super stoked about it.